Air pet. Doing light roasting. Closing up. All right. So let me go ahead. We'll get this warmed up first. We're just gonna go right ahead and get into the thing. So gonna run this on high beam. Then I think I have to update this firmware too. Thank you. Someone said it has a nice setup. It's a workbench. And technically, state of California, I couldn't roast and sell beans out of the garage because it's not a kitchen. So if I am gonna roast and sell beans, I have to bring it into my kitchen and roast it there. But I also have to put my dogs away. But these are all just nice little workbench. But if you ever look into selling beans, gotta look into like cottage laws. Let me just open this thing up. So I think after Chinese New Year, there's going to be a new high beam update that's coming up. That's going to include Bluetooth connection with BLE with the Skywalker V2. That's one thing. And then I'm actually getting a Kaleido M1 light coming in. So we are going to we're going to get that on high beam as well. It's already on high beam, but we're going to have it do it through BLE. People on iOS can join in on the fun. And also BLE bridge. People don't have to. People could use Artisan with their Silicon Max. Hey. All right, let me go update this firmware. No, in my country I'm gonna say there are no regulations about where you can roast. Not sure if that's better or worse. Yeah, you know, I see some videos of where people roast. I'm like, I don't know if I could want coffee from there. Get the cat coming over and like checking out the beans. Some dingy place. Go here. Go up. All right. So yeah, I did make an update page for the V2 people who want to get in on the Apple folks who want to get on using their V2 with it. And this also covers. I should also mention that this firmware also helps with the 1 kilogram roast. I think I actually updated some code, so I have to figure out where we're at with that. I'll download this one. I think you put it in a separate bit. Oh, 1.7 now. Okay. I need to update. So we're doing our standard web home.esp home connect. JTAG is usually the one if you have ESP32S3. Don't mind all that stuff. All choose your firmware. He has 1, 2, 3. So yeah, we got that going on. So yeah, and I gotta get the other stuff too. Oh, it's on here. So if you do order one for me, I usually add what I can that came from the original Skywalker when they sent me the broken one. So I'll usually fix it, and then you know, all this stuff gets there. The long handle stick, the trier, which I actually got it to stop doing that wiggling thing, so it's in there pretty firm now. All you need is some Captain tape, and you could wrap it around the base. So if you want it to stop wiggling, you could buy just some Captain tape and just wrap it around, and then it'll stop doing this whole like wiggly trier that's kind of like annoying. Yeah, so you put it in. Usually if it's like a regular one, the trier is kind of, I don't know. I got really annoyed with that, so a few of the triers I set up. I got the base just to sink in a little bit better. And it's not as wiggly. Or you could use like aluminum tape, or I don't know. But I'm using Captain because it just slides in and out pretty easy. So that... I put a little bit of Captain tape around the base. I should probably put kind of a lot. Yeah, just wrap it around the base so when it slides in, it won't jiggle. The original ones, they kind of have a jiggle to them. It doesn't do anything functionally. It's just, I don't know, I guess it's a better feeling. Anyways, and then I also try to add the controller there. If anything, the controller acts as a good troubleshooter because I'll either tell you E1 for a bad probe or a bad controller board, or E3 for the drum motor. The overcurrent sensor is what they call it. All right, so this is all done. Now you just grab a USB cable. This one. Plug this in. Pop on high beam. All right, here's high beam. Put it on the screen. Oh, wait. I'll flip it later. All right, so we'll see if we can connect to it. It is. There you go. So we'll go to add this. Sometimes if it doesn't show up, you got to delete the past one. Oh, you plug it in. Under nimble now? I'm just seeing if it's under nimble. Did we change it? You might have changed it. Yeah, okay. Apparently it's under nimble now. what are the difference between the Skywalker V1 and the V1.1? V1.1. Oh, that was my way of indicating that they finally added all the safety implementations. Like for a while, we ran without a thermal fuse and a resettable fuse, and then a relay. They were running without those at all. I don't know if I have an earlier board. I could show you, but yeah, the older boards, they don't have all that safety implementation. I think I have one right here. But yeah, they took all those out, and then here, I'll grab my camera. Bring this over. I don't want to plug it. Actually, I should not use this board. Is what I should not do. Let me see if I can show it to you. Give it to me. Well, anyways, so this is kind of the relay that they usually add. This is the V2 board, but this is the relay that they added. And then a thermal fuse right at the front panel. The old ones didn't have that, and they were liable to do like a thermal runaway, and it would completely yeah, it would burn down your house if left if you didn't know what to do. So that's probably the biggest versions of that, like for V1.1. Safety features that kind of work, sometimes don't work. I've had a few roasts where I actually left it on and it went up to like 280 degrees C. It didn't turn off. But anyways, let's get back onto this. So I'm gonna test this out. All right, motor's working. And in cooling fan. All right, good, all good. And heater. When we get in a unit, just check if it goes in between like 0 to 100. Like if it's at 50% but the light dims, and if you're in the US, it should make the lights flicker. Sometimes you'll get a bulb where it'll stay at 100 past like the 5 mark. Like anytime you go up past 0, it just stays at 100. That could be problematic. Anyways, this. That's in there. That's in there. I need the. Drop the. So I'm gonna get the bean chute gate and put that on while it's kind of warming up. So, oh, there, it's on top of here. Stupid me. Okay, so I'm putting that back on. Let's go warm this up. I'm gonna switch this. I'm gonna try. Test. Try this. All right. Okay, we're gonna try this crazy one. Right there, what happened was with the 50, it's the high beam safety thing. So if it reaches 50 degrees Celsius inside, it'll kick on the drum. Go to device, start manual roasting, and then we'll hit preheat. And get fan, it kind of circulates stuff. We'll start off at 50, even though I'm going to start it off at, I think it starts off at 10. to see how much I had. I think I had the air at 10, and then yeah, then bump it up to 40 after first crack. 40 and then 45, then 50. And then I'll kind of show you what we're gonna do while this warms up. We'll lay out the rules. I pinned them. This style kept coming up when people were, I guess, Haha Sky was roasting. He roasts a bunch on Taiwan, and he kind of came up with this this way of roasting where let's copy that up. Add this in text. Let's see if it works better in call it rules. Light rules. That's warming up. Whoa. That's a little bit much. Oh, that's cancel this here. Oh, he did. Okay, we'll do target temple. That was good. 200. Well, we're gonna let that warm up. Put a new text. Me? Here's kind of what we're gonna do. This is from Val. They posted this up. So what we're doing is low charge, so 250 grams. Low charge temperature, 150 to 160 degrees Celsius. And then we're doing low fan. I'm guessing for very minimal tipping. Scorching observed still. So yeah, I might ramp that up, but we'll keep it a low fan. Flat ROR. I try to make it like 2 flat hills. And just do around 50 C during 50 to heat during first crack. So minimal adjustments, just straight heat being absorbed, and we'll see how it goes. I've had yes, so far I've had really good like smooth light roast with this, like incredibly smooth, not like green or any kind of weird flavor, but I'm getting like a little bit of like it could taste like a little bit of the citrus. The geisha has like a little bit of like a tea quality to it, so I'm just tasting that as well. That'll be kind of what we're approaching. While that warms up, I'll go measure I'll weigh out the beans. Does high beam drum control feel less janky than artisan? It's about the same. It still runs on the same percentages. Like, um, The only weird thing they do is they an artisan they cut it out. Like you can't go below 80, I think. But you can like adjust it in like the settings to go like to 50. But it's kind of like kind of just depends. Let me go and I'm gonna measure these beans out. Right back. We'll let that warm up for a bit. All right, let's see any other questions. That's the hard part is it keeps throwing the beans over it. I mean, you could pick them out. Like I every time I go watch there's a Temple Coffee and I watched them. I watch the production roasters when they roast and they're always like they're like as part of the job you're picking beans out. Like when they drop a roast, he's like picking out just ones that look funny, ones that are even burnt more than the others. And this is like on a Diedrich. So I figure maybe you have to throw some out, but I think it's a little different with home roasting because it's small, such a small batch size. Yeah, when I always it's always weird talking to production roasters because they'll be like, "Yeah, just toss it out." I toss out all the funky looking ones, but they're not the ones setting the profile; they're the ones just running the profile, so it's a lot different. I I'll toss I used to toss a lot of the flat side ones, the ones that goes on the lamp, because that still happens. But yeah, I just toss those out because you could definitely taste them. Um, but when I dropped it down to like 50 RPM at the drum motor, I got like 0. And I don't think my consistency like it suffered too much. Yeah, he's on it today. All right, let me make a note to myself. Note. So I know people are getting parts from China, and it's there's Chinese New Year, so that stuff ain't gonna be done till the end of the month. So I guess hang tight while you're waiting for your lamps or your motors, because it's gonna be probably another week of celebrating or whatever they do for Chinese New Year's. Gung Hei Fat Choi. I don't know if I said that right. So let's we'll just have that covered up. Okay, so 250 grams, low charge weight, minimal tipping. I'm gonna put air to 10. This is a very weird way of roasting, by the way. I'm forgetting. I need to check YouTube chat. Oh, you can't. So with the Skywalker V1, I'm using the V1 today, and I'll use the V2 next time. But for the V1, it just stays at that 60 RPMs. Actually, if you use it long enough, they'll eventually get to the point where they're dying, and they'll hit that 50 RPM range, and then you'll lose like all your the flat side burns because the drum motor dies over time. So eventually, you will reach 50 RPMs, whether you like it or not. But for V2, I usually try to drop it to get to that 50 range. Okay, so he did. Okay, so he goes 50, 45, 40. I don't know when I dropped it, but I'm just gonna keep it steady. Like maybe 3 changes the whole time. So let's go ahead, go 50. Top auto heating. Put my funnel in. Make sure this door's closed. And I need to turn on my DI fluid airwave. Otherwise, I'm going to have a smoky afternoon. I'm just going to let it run. The biggest things are when you get the first crack, you drop it to about 40, but midway, I think after dry-in, maybe before the dry-in phase, you drop it down to 45. I'm just trying to see if this was a fluke or this is actually working. We had 3 people confirm this style of roasting is kind of working out for light roast. You definitely want to do this for a dark roast, like a medium roast. And I guess the main point too is kind of getting everyone to test out different ways of roasting. A lot of people get kind of stuck with this whole declining ROR situation. I mean, it's fine. I've netted good roasts declining my ROR, but I've also netted really good light roasts that are incredibly smooth, and I have a lot of taste doing this method as well. But at the same time, that was the same bean, or I haven't tried it with different beans. That is, so maybe it's just a fluke with that bean. And then when I get the M1, I could show more often, like kind of like how that style would look like with the declining ROR, because that's where I noticed in my M2 where it does taste, the taste does taste a lot better when you decline the ROR. $250 I am roasting 250 grams. Yeah, I'm trying to stick into this protocol. I guess we're calling it, I don't know what we're calling it. I'm just going to call Val's protocol because Val put it up. Yeah, I don't get any of that baked like flavor. I guess under roasted is the correct term. Or over roasted. Always forget. Over roasted because of the length of time it is. Baked is kind of like this weird word that people like to use to describe roasts when they don't know what it is, but they don't like it. That's what Rob Hoos was telling us in like one of his interviews, like kind of more of used to like as a term of yeah, I didn't like a roast, so it was kind of just baked. And he said he got that a lot. Like a lot of people did not like posting their roast on Instagram because they would get roasted for posting something that wasn't like the conventional Scott Rao declining ROR, flicks and crashes minimized. By the way, he has taken that out of his curriculum, so don't think flicks and crashes are going to really matter when you roast. The only thing that matters with a flick and crash is you can't replicate it if you get a good roast. It's harder to replicate. That's from Christopher Ferran said that. I like to quote a lot of people because I'm not a roasting expert, but I could read a lot about roasting experts. Oh, we're gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop it. But I always thought like roasted, like I always just assumed that if someone said baked, it was like, oh, you've roasted it for, past 15 minutes or something extra long. Which I guess could be the case if you're looking at convection because of air transfer heat to the beans. But with infrared radiation, you're literally like the beans are absorbing the heat through the top layer and then penetrates through for a little bit by the bottom and causes like the heat to kind of penetrate a little bit into the core and then roast that way. So I think you get more of like under roasted because it usually gets the top surface more, which is why people are harping on trying to roast it at this plateau. So and then also increasing your air to like cool off the bean surface so you don't you don't basically make the outer shell charcoal. Maybe we'll want to get really nerdy. um, Convection uses like it goes by like Newtonian laws. So like it has a whole different calculation on how we would heat the bean. Where I think infrared radiation uses something called Stefan Boltz kind of principle. You gotta look at I was trying to read about that stuff and I was like, oh boy, I feel like I'm in school again. Is this Stefan Boltz? No, I don't remember. We could look up like the calculation of how the heat transferred or something. Stefan Boltzmann constant. The ideal that black bodies will absorb incident radiation. Yeah, you want to really look that up. That's something Renato was. He's the admin of the home roasting forums, and he's really big on like putting out the physics and stuff like that. Oh boy. To a sense, yeah, I was trying to follow the background curve. Oh no, I wasn't trying to follow that curve. I just wanted the timings of it. The curve is this one. The curve in the background is a geisha, while this one is an Ethiopian Guji Goro Bediesa. Then once we hear first crack, we'll jump it down to 40. Oh, and also the weird thing about infrared roasting is the whole penetration thing. Rubase goes a lot on talking about like how our development time doesn't have to be as long as other roasters because of the penetration factor. I don't know. I could show you the picture of it, but like half the time I don't believe half the stuff they are because they're a roasting company trying to sell you a roaster. So they'll you know, you can make up whatever you want about how your roaster is. But there's first crack. No, it's not first crack. That's all. That's weird. I always think I hear first crack. I'm hearing ghosts. I'm hearing ghosts. Oh shit. Oh, there it is. That is first crack. That's weird. We hit it early. Now it's really going off. Oh, now I drop it down by 40. Now here's the crazy part: is we drop it at like the 42-second mark. I'm gonna do 45. I'm gonna make a nice 45. All right. I cleared it out. So while that's happening, while this is cooling off. So when I try cooling off the beans, I usually, if it's sucking the beans, like if you didn't change the fan orientation of your fans, I usually keep a gap open just so it sucks in cold air. A little bit of a gap. And I usually have a long fork or long spoon so I could agitate the beans. because usually the center and the center area usually picks up all the heat, and you can actually have sections hit to second crack if you leave it there. So always good to agitate it. And if it ever happened to you, it's pretty interesting when you hit second crack and you didn't want to. I also get one of these things. I really like having this to blow chaff away. Or if I really want to speed up the cooling, I might do this. I don't think it does anything, but I usually wait till they're cool to touch. Like if they're not too hot and I can pick them up. Oh, let's do the AI thing. Or the AI scan thingy. It, it's not 23. I gotta update all of their stuff by going to the QR link. The thing about light roast that really sucks, and I kind of hate it, is literally people will be like, "Oh, you're not opening it up until about week 4." Like, fuck, I want to drink that now. I want to spend 4 weeks waiting for a roast. Can I just drink that tomorrow and just leave it out in open air? It doesn't work that way. I usually like to taste them too. Oh man, it'd be a fruity one, I think. Oh wow. All right, I really taste the lemon. I don't know if that's a good thing. It does say lemon on it. I'm always funky about coffee that just says like Earl Grey like then I should have just made tea. Why do I have to go through this process to make tea? But I'm slowly trying to appreciate lighter roast. That's cooled off, so I'm gonna turn that off. I'll put the weight in. Oh, I should measure it. Let me get a weight scale. Measure this thing. Then I can make coffee too. Do. Hey, doggy. What poppers? You doing, girly girl? All right, got the scale. So, I know I should really just do cupping, but I kind of like just enjoying a cup of coffee. So I usually test all my roasts using my X Bloom. It's usually consistent. I mean, I'm really just trying to taste the flavor of it. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to do too much. Although cupping does take a lot less beans. If you have someone with a 3D printer, and really gotta post this on the group. This thing's fucking awesome. Some guy made this. He made the files available on the Facebook group. And I love it. E? Ooh, I seriously overestimated how many beans I had. Oh, fuck. That wasn't smart. Ugh. All right. So 216, 217. So 13.2% weight loss. That's lowish, right? Okay. All done with that. Let me turn off the fan on this thing before it bugs the shit out of me. Okay. Now we're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna use they look good. They look like it's always hard to see what they look like. I mean, they don't look like the death. It's always weird because camera's always filtering and processing stuff. Like, somebody took a picture of me on like my wife's camera, and then I look at the picture, I'm like, dude, that guy's fucking handsome. It does, because AI does all this crazy stuff to your face. I'm like, my god, it like removed a chin, I think. All right, so now I'm gonna load up my chin filters are clutch. Exactly. That's what my wife said. It's like, oh god, thank god the chin filter removed that from you. So yeah. Why you should have a 3D printer. This is just a filter negotiator for my my X Bloom. But yeah, I definitely bought a second X Bloom because I wanted to compare roasts at the same time. I was getting tired of like making one, drinking it, it would cool off, but the other one would be done. I'd be like, oh, I want to make sure I get them at the same time. So I bought two. I didn't tell my wife. I didn't tell my wife we have one, much more two. So yeah, let me go ahead and get this going. All right. And let me measure out 15 grams. Yeah, I have that M1 light coming in, so I'm gonna try a lot of light roasting with that. It comes out okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna start this one off, and then we're gonna go to the Nano 7. Light roast card. All right. Let's go ahead. We're gonna play with this one now. So what I always gather from the Cafe Logic Nano 7 is like the best at doing consistent light roast. Probably dark roast too, but the last bean I had, it tasted better with the Skywalker. I want to see if it tastes just as good on this bean on this profile, which is like one of their main profiles. And I think I'll do 100 grams. Because I have about, how many grams I have in here? Okay, I got 100. So I could do 100 here, and then maybe 100 on my cubing. I'm really maxing out all the different ways to use one whole bag. I also like the Cafe Logic Nano 7 for all my pea berries. If you ever try roasting a pea berry on a Skywalker and the beans are incredibly small, you're gonna have a bad time. Those ones notoriously get stuck in the fins, or not the fins, but the slots of the drum, and makes it a real pain in the ass. Makes it a real pain in the ass to clean up after. I have a video of it where somebody was roasting, I think it might have been a pea berry, and all the beans were stuck inside the drum. Whoa! All right. Oh, let me see if I gotta check my YouTube. Yeah. Someone's asking, wait, are you tasting the beans right away? So yes, I do. I understand that people, decasting occurs. The flavor is going to change. What's it going to taste like? Dear Jesus, what are you doing, Lloyd? How do you know what it's going to, how are you going to build appreciation if you don't taste it like right after? You know? I figure I taste it now and I taste it in 3 weeks. I go back and look at my notes on it. I'm like, oh, that's what it tasted like before. Oh, now it tastes like this. I feel like I get a better appreciation of how the bean develops, where I just don't want to blindly follow, like, you got to wait 3 days, you got to wait 4 weeks, you got to, you know, it's one of those things where it's not like it won't kill you. You'll get kind of an understanding of what it tastes like. And I always feel like you get a better appreciation of how the roast degassed over time and what flavors comes out. But it's always up to you if you want to, when you want to taste your beans. I know there's all these hard, stringent rules people follow, but I mean, taste it when you want to taste it. But I really should probably wait for light roast because they change dramatically within a week. All right, that background noise is the X Bloom. It's off of it's off a 13 amp circuit, and I have three 3D printers on that same circuit, and it's like, fuck's you doing? So that just beeps. Beep. It's the it's my UP or USP, my backup power supply. Or power. So yeah, my backup power was just telling me you're doing too much. All right, let's go start with this bad boy. So, Cafe Logic Nano 7. This is kind of goated, I guess. Well, that and the Link. The Nano 7, there's a Nano 7 and then there's the Link. Pretty much the same design, but I think different profiles. I actually really don't know what the difference is between the Nano 7 and the Link, other than the Nano 7's a little bit cheaper. I think it's the profiles, but correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Bring it close. My coffee's. So I usually choose this profile, Ferran cup, because I'm assuming this is the profile Christopher Ferran came up with, and I think he's pretty good. We're gonna go for a light roast. We'll go a few off. 1.7. I'm gonna hit this button there, decrease it by there. Oh shit. Just kidding. I didn't want to start it. Okay. But you get the gist, okay? That's how I would get the roast going. Well, let me go grab a sip of this coffee, see what it tastes like. Yeah, definitely could taste the lemon. Yeah, this is pretty fucking good. And then people like the slurp. Yeah, I don't get that. Because when I used to do declining ROR, I always got like, I just assumed that bitter aftertaste was just something that's always part of the bean, right? And then I started making these cups with the plateau, and I've been getting more of these like really mild aftertaste, kind of smooth cups that I really appreciate. I don't know what that word is, like when it just leaves like this taste in the back of your throat, and it's usually with medium roast. I've had this, but But so far, every time I've been roasting with this, it's been pretty smooth. Right now, the flavors aren't like amazingly great. I'm pretty sure when I wait a few weeks and I open it back up, it's gonna change a whole bunch. I'm not seeing the blackberry juice yet. I kind of get the stone fruit peach thing going on, but the lemon, I actually getting that lemon. Yeah, getting that lemon. Anyways, that's enough coffee. Can't be drinking that much coffee a day. Anyways, let's get started with this nano. I could sip on that while I'm doing there. So we'll try the nano. I'll even taste it after. They also have settings that are like, I think we're ready to roast. Are ready to brew right after, like the roast. There's somehow there's a setting they do. I forgot what it was called. DTR, DRT, RTD, RTD. Ready to drink. They're ready to drink profiles. All right. Roast was interrupted. So we're doing a light. We're doing a Ferran cup. We loaded it by 100. And this does all the hard work for you. I should put it on there. I don't know how to use their app, their program, but I think I've heard it's relatively easy to use. Definitely if you're getting into roasting and you don't want to like manage all the other stuff that comes with it, like watching your ROR, seeing how how much air and heat is being affected. You just want to throw coffee in, run a profile, and just have it do all the hard work. I think this is where the Cafe Logic is just excels at. Like I had a few times where I forgot to roast beans like the night of because I went to sleep early, and I ended up just doing the ready to drink stuff, and it was actually pretty good. Oh, I probably should do this. So I have to make a hood for my garage, otherwise I'm gonna smoke this whole thing out. I'm gonna do one of these. So I use an airwave in my garage. That's another toy I got for myself. You don't need an airwave. You really just could spend less money getting the ducting to go outside your house. But this is how I undercover roast without opening my garage at night. Because one way to piss off your wife is exploring second crack at 2 o'clock in the morning and having all the alarms go off. Smoke alarm went off. That's not fun. You just sit here and you just let it do everything. Like I'll be back. I'm gonna go check something. I was checking if my roaster came in, or not roaster, my X boom came in. But this kind of way of roasting does take the joy out of like the fun part of like controlling it and seeing how things react and getting that manual control. So it does kind of, I kind of do miss that part. You know, the colder this gets, the better it's starting to taste. That's weird. Yeah, lemony tea, good tea. I'm not tasting the blackberry yet, but that's dry end. What where are we at? Oh, we were way past dry end phase. Okay. Yeah, sorry. This is not the most entertaining use of my time. But you have a question, let me know. Any questions out there or any burning questions or anything you've tried? Any beans I should try? Let me know. Oh, first crack coming up. I realized I bought like a 10-pound bag of geisha and I'm just over it. I want to try something else. I roasted that every which way for I tried roasting it for espresso, roasting it dark for French press, and I was you hear it. Got more coffee roasters back there. Or at least start should repairing them. Half the time they're not broken. Like I think a good 3 out of 4 so far have worked. Like this is getting dark. Oh, there it is. Now it's cooling the beans off. You really can't go wrong with a roaster. It's just the price is really expensive, and it's like what, 200 grams? Like, is this thing sucking it up at all? Oh, my filter didn't go off, so that's a plus. My detector. I'll taste this bad boy, see what that tastes like, and then that'll probably be it for today. I do need to make a video of upgrading the motor. There's a lot of issues with the V1 motor that's kind of getting out of control. Like, it's to the point where I'm almost, yeah, it's definitely, we are considering the V1 motor to almost be consumable at this point. More on that later. Yeah, I'm liking the way this light roast is working for the Skywalker. All right, it's done. It's done. Very hot. Incredibly hot. Oh, yeah, it's a little bit much on the lemony part. Yeah. Oh, oh, interesting. Right. Oh, Let me wash this out. Let me get some more water too. Some water. All right. Let's see the weight loss on this one. Oh. So I started out with 100. $86.6. Six. Maybe. Okay. We're gonna try this roast suit. Okay. I'm having this thing math it up real quick. 13.3%. All right. So similar to what we just roasted with. So now I'm going to go and try it out. No, it's not the most amazing roasting session, but I do 15 grams. Wow, 15 grams on the dot. Yes. All right. Wash this cup out. All right. Put this away. Oh, I lost my bean. Anyways. Questions, comments. All right. Okay. Anyways, I guess I could talk about the V2. All right. So while that's brewing up, I got a V2 modifications that we're doing. Yes, it's getting a little bit of mod treatment, but nothing big. Mostly just the biggest mod is just adding high beam and removing the tablet. So I think we got it to the point where we don't really have to rely on the tablet anymore. Maybe good news for some and maybe bad news for others. Who knows? That's another project next year, is to get an actual dedicated sub panel in my garage. Let's put this to the side. We'll hide this bad boy over here. Move this over here. That's already cooled off. Good right there. Let's go down a little bit lower. I'll bring you in a little closer. All right. So here's your standard ports for the V2. You got the top port, which is where all the serial connection happens through the USB. That's the TC4 protocol, and the output is 3.3 volts. In case you're wondering why you can't power your ESP32S3 on it, because it's low on the voltage side. So the workaround for that is you get a Y splitter as such. So what this Y splitter does is it will connect to the ESP32S3. This will connect to the data side on the top port, and this bottom port is solely 5-volt and ground. So that will essentially power up the ESP32S3. So that's all powered up, and then you're able to run one of these. Be able to run one of these. Run BLE high beam on it. So this will, you just add the firmware that we have. Put it on here. And there. That's it. See how it powers on like that? So you have the firmware in there. Now you can connect either the high beam. You can either connect this to high beam, or you can connect it to Artisan via the BLE bridge. So it solves two big problems with Mac and iOS. The big issue with iOS is the V2 is classic Bluetooth. They're not able to connect any iOS device because they prefer that you use a BLE, Bluetooth Low Energy. And that's just one of their protocols when you design an app for them, is you have to use, they don't like using serial communication through classic Bluetooth. It's more secure and safe if you use it through Bluetooth Low Energy. Somebody sent me the document about that. So that's why it doesn't connect to it right away. It's the same deal with how the Kaleidos do it. They use classic Bluetooth as well. They don't use BLE. So yeah, you're kind of stuck with Android when it comes to Kaleido and the V2 until now. Now there's a section they added specifically for BLE V2s and it's custom made little firmware. Designed by the community for free. We don't get paid for this. Everything is volunteered, and we just ask that you tell us how it works. You try it out, and if you do have the skills to improve upon it, you do. But make it free, because that's the whole point of this thing. Right. Ah, all right. On my face. Let me see if I could. Oh, that's me. Okay. I didn't know that was up. All right. Jesus Christ, Mike. Let's lower that. Let's zoom in a little bit. I want you to feel the disarray that my garage is in. There you go. All right. Sorry. Everything looks like. So, I'm drinking the coffee. I'd rather just have you watch the roaster. You can always decrease the size of the screen. That's what you want. Anyways, so far it tastes pretty on the same. I can't really. See, this is why I need a second one. Yeah, I mean, they taste the same. Okay. Well, that's a plus. At least they taste the same. There's probably some nuanced flavor I'm missing out on. I don't know. I'm not a Q grade or anything. It's pretty good. Lemony. Let me close my. What I should do is set myself up in a dark room, eyes closed, minimal sound, and then you're left with only like 3 of your senses. There's a funky little. What's that? I'm not saying it's grassy. There is like a little free taste. I don't know. It's good. They both taste pretty much not exactly the same. There's a little bit better. I don't know which one would taste better. I think I enjoyed the first one more than I enjoyed the second one. That's one thing. Well, let's wait till it cools off because when it was cooling off, it actually started tasting better. So maybe that's the thing with the bean. Supposed to do sips and slurps with a spoon. But anyways, we'll go back to this. So the M1 Lite is coming in, and I think it still suffers from all the same problems that it did before in terms of like not being able to connect to the Artisan on a Mac. They said they had issues with some of the stuff where it would try to connect wirelessly, but it wouldn't work. I think it connects through the serial just fine, but we'll find out when I get it. Um, but also, yeah, then iOS can't be able to use the M1 Lite on high beam, so I'm seeing if I can make one of these devices work with the same firmware to work to do the same thing. It just depends on if the USB serial port on an M1 Lite is not some kind of like fancy protocol, and if it's some kind of like if it's the same TC4 protocol, we're able to make that pretty much a bridge. So honestly, I think if you hook this up to any TC4 protocol, you're able to have a BLE bridge, because that's all this does. It reads the substring of the it's a what's it called, syntax? I forgot what it encoding language. There's decimals, floats, string. So it's a string. So it just reads string and then just reads it in that same format, and then that's what all the calculations go through. It just sends it at a fast rate. So usually you want it at 1 second speeds, sending information back and forth to each other. And some instances you want it really fast, where you're sending it at 250 milliseconds, and that's for dealing with like probably more different systems that do oversampling. You take a bunch of the same numbers and you try to maybe get the middle of it. I think that's how oversampling works. Just something with averaging a lot of the numbers and then calculating it at that time to represent the mean or something. I forget how oversampling works, but you're able to take multiple numbers, and then just trying to come up with one good number that represents the temperature at that time by taking it within those milliseconds. And that's when faster units, like, that's when you want those calculations to occur at the hardware level. So if I were to do PID for the Skywalker, we would want it on this because you want it to run the PID faster. In comparison, if you do software PID, you end up taking a longer time because you have to go through all this abstraction layers of like like the Mac kernels or whatever. You have to go through like the Windows kernel, CPU, all that kind of stuff, and it takes a lot longer than it would just. And these are milliseconds, right? And it'd be just a lot faster going through PID, going through the hardware level, which would be like the ESP32S3 versus at the like OS software level, where it takes a little bit longer to calculate PID temperatures and things like that. Not saying that it's struggling calculating it. It just doesn't do it as fast as ESP32S3. Gets to the number faster, even though the processing power is a lot more. I guess it goes through more hoops, where it not ESP32S3, it doesn't go through as many hoops. But there are a lot of people who are trying to work on improving the PID software, so you're able to run PID that way. Oh, Calvin AK1 asks, I'll have to find him later. But Calvin, you ask, I have a V1, I've been using the controller. I only need the ESP32 controller and maybe a thermocouple, and download the stuff and that I'm onto it, I'm good. So buy the ESP32S3, and basically it takes over the slot of this thing. This is the controller. So it takes over you're taking over that slot. So you're no longer be able to use it, which is okay because this thing kind of a piece of shit. So, and I say that, I know people love this thing, like they really like it. Um, I just had way too many of these to the point where I would bang it just to get the springs in place. So maybe it's just me, my thing, but I don't like using it. And I don't like, I like tactile responses like on a keyboard. Like if you have like a fancy keyboard, like a Moonlander, I like the feeling the clicks and the the feedback, right? So this doesn't have that. But anyways, but besides that, you would just do away with this. You would use the ESP32 to control it, and it would actually take the measurements of bean temp from the actual NTC probe, because that's how we programmed it to do it, or that's how Sloppy Josh did. able to take the whatever it's sent to here, able to program an Arduino Nano in this case to understand what those bits values were and how to take those and calculate what the temperature is. Because I was sending it like I think it's like a seven character or something, 7 string LSB lowest value, whatever. It's whatever. All the hard coding stuff is um sloppy Josh, but they kind of explains to you how the message is sent. Anyways, if you wanted to add a thermocouple, you can easily do that too. It's just a little bit more. You need you'll have the code through us. You would just need to copy and paste a few lines of code that I have up, and that should be able to calculate temperature for you using a thermocouple or an RTD probe. It works the same way. You run this block of code where it reads whatever the value is from the thermometer that it gets from the library of whatever Arduino or whatever library you're using, and then it's able to get those values, and then you just swap out the NTC probe values, and it just puts in the RTD values at that side. So you can run 2 thermocouples, you could run 2 RTDs, you could run a thermocouple and an RTD. When I say RTD, it's like a PT100. It just depends on what you want to use. Thermocouples are faster. RTD is much the results aren't as it's smoother from what I experienced. It's not as jagged. If you look at a PT100 reading on a roaster compared to a thermocouple reading raw, you'll usually have better values come out of the PT100. The signal's a little bit cleaner, where the signal's kind of not as great on thermocouple, so you'll get maybe a lot of different values, but you get them fast, which then people start to do things like sampler. Yeah, so then you just download. There is firmware now for adding a thermocouple if you wanted to add that as an environmental temperature probe. That's up to you. You just have to find a good place to put it. So I have one on my exhaust pipe that goes in between the fan that pulls air out, and then it's a pipe that gets all the air, and then the drum is over on this side. So I put one in there, and that kind of shows you the energy, I guess, the representation of it. I don't know how to read it well yet. I haven't used that one as much as I need to learn on. But you can also put it on the back panel of the roaster. I think the V tube is on the top left. If you're looking at it front and you go, I think the probe is on the top left. It's in the drum, away from the fins. So, and it's kind of close to the exhaust port. So in a sense, it's kind of calculating maybe exhaust temps as well. Some could argue, but it's mostly for environmental temperature. But if you notice one thing about that, it kind of just mimics what Bluetooth temperature is, which is why I think the Sandbox R2 doesn't have a bean temperature probe, but it uses an environmental temperature probe, and it uses the same way like we would roast, except the values would just be off by a lot. Like it'd be definitely be hotter, and you could see like it increase and decrease, and it would just kind of follow each other. They don't ever cross, I don't think, but they usually just kind of follow each other temperature wise. So yeah, if you wanted to put a environment temperature probe, you could put it there, and you could really put you could take that bean temperature probe, and then you could find other places to put it. You don't necessarily have to use the stock placement of it on a V1. For a V1, people have put it right next to, let me show probe placement. Somebody was stating that right next to the viewport to the left, right above like a little bit higher, there's a good spot over there where it supposedly gets more of the bean mass at a lower end. Like if say you were trying to roast 150 grams on a Skywalker, you would put the probe there, and it would read the bean temperature a lot better compared to where the is up a little bit higher, where that would be more better, oh better, where that would be better at like 300 grams plus, and that's just where the center of the bean mass is. So of course, yeah, if you move it and you get it closer to the center of the bean mass where it's like low at the low 150 gram side, it'll read better. The temperatures will be more accurate for lower charges. Where if you were doing higher charges at 400 to 500, you'd probably want it up a little bit higher where it's at now, or a little bit higher above that to get overall the bean mass temperature, the appropriate temperature. Yeah, and that's really it in terms of how we measure bean temperature probe with thermocouples. Um, I'm still trying. I don't know how it's gonna work. It's not really designed for. I was trying to steal a IBTS off of eBay, and then try to see if I could decode what it sends out, and then take those values and see if I could somehow get bean temperature off of that. And then I realized that's a lot of work that I don't want to spend doing. I definitely don't want to do that. More question. Alvin AK1. Asked about you look nice, 2x blooms. Okay. I think that'll be it. Perfect. I've ended at 2:30. You stayed this long. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'm always up for talking or helping. If you need any help with your roast, let me know. I try to make the user experience best as we can within the community because OEM and vendors, I mean, they're doing their best, but I feel like they could always do better. Coffee roasting for a beginner is kind of it's not scary, but it's definitely like there's a lot of things to consider. Not all the things out there are correct, and there's a lot of this whole passing of information that's from the past, from like convectional roasters to conduction roasters passed on to the radiate heat roasters, and they honestly, from what someone showed me, that it kind of don't apply. But there are always people there that'll be like, they swear that things like declining ROR is the only way to roast. And I think our community should be more up to experimenting what happens at different, like in terms of different RORs or different temperatures, different styles. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Not to say anything I'm saying is right. Like you could probably roast with this profile, the Val's profile is what I'm going to call it, and it might actually taste like shit. So you don't really know until you experiment. So yeah. Anyways, keep experimenting. If you're looking to buy a V1, I usually sell them for 350 with the upgrades, and then every once in a while I get a scratch and dent, where it functionally works the same, but it just got beat to shit during shipping, and they're kind of ugly. And I sell those for like 250, a little bit cheaper, but no upgrades. You would just have to do the upgrades yourself, and everything is always as is. I try my best to show you that this roaster is going to be sent to someone. I try to show you how well it's working and if it can do a batch, but I could do maybe a roast, and then that's all I want to be able to show you is like this can roast one batch. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the future, if it's going to break down more or something happens, but I can say that if we tested it and it's able to do a roast, it didn't catch on fire, the drum didn't turn off. If I have any issues, like if I do a roast and I just sense anything is wrong, then I take it off and I try another roaster, and then I try to fix this one as best as I can if there was an issue. And if not, then I'll just usually sell it for parts. Oh, someone asked, how can I be a partner to sell Skywalkers in my country? It's easy. You just go to Akimata and you say you want. They like big numbers. Akimata, Oshan Akimata. That's the OEM. Um, and it's easy. You just tell them you want to buy 50 units or you want to buy 100 units. And they'll ask you a question like, will you be able to service those when you get them? And if you say no, they will cancel your order. But if you say yes, they'll more than likely try to send it to you. Or in my case, they'll deny me because they don't like what we're doing here. So definitely don't mention me or the Skywalker Discord community because they'll be like, well, you're part of the group that always modifies and yeah, that becomes a little bit of an issue. But if you do want to become like a partner to sell them, you don't really need to be a partner. You could just buy a bunch and sell them because they'll send you all the parts if you need any replacement parts within that 1 year warranty for them. But it's on you to help clients on your side of the country with the repairs. And I put all these videos up for free, so you just refer to one of these videos for a repair, and that's tell someone how to repair it, and I think it's a fair shake. But yeah, that's the best way you can. They'll try to tell you you have to sell it at market price. That's another reason why they won't sell to me because I was selling them at group buy prices a lot lower, but other vendors get upset that you're not selling it at those. So instead, I just become partnered up with my vendor close to me, which is Precision. Not really a partnership. It's more like they use me as basically free tech support, and they send me sometimes they'll send me broken units to repair, and then I'll just sell them on the Discord, and then that usually goes to fund the server or my beans. So that's how I try not to get murdered by my wife. But yeah, I think anyone can really just sell it. You don't have to be like affiliated partner like Kaleido. Like Kaleido, I wouldn't be able to sell Kaleido roasters in the capacity of a wholesale vendor because they have their main vendor here is Espresso Outlet, and they buy enough to where they can get the price down like by 100. So if you see what they're doing with the M1 Lite, they could buy enough of those roasters to be able to take about $200 off of the price. Well, $699, and I think normally they sell them for $899. So M1 Lite they're supposed to be selling for $899. That's how much they quoted me. Kaleido, China. So yeah, you have to buy higher volume from Kaleido if you want to get those kind of prices. Where they give you a pretty fair price if you do it through Alibaba. Just look up Akimata. Oshan Akimata is what is the company name that they have underneath Alibaba. And oh yeah, and also this the Discord, Facebook group, YouTube channel. This one, they're all not affiliated with any vendor or OEM. We partner like those are usually separate. Keep them away, and that's so we're able to release these firmwares for free and not be in some kind of weird, um, just a weird arrangement. And I also try to make sure that every firmware release, it's released by the person writing the code, and I request that you have the source code. But if not, at least the bin file, the very least, and no selling of the bin file stuff. I mean, you could sell them on your own. Don't actively post like a link to say I'm going to sell you this firmware. But yeah, that's kind of the stance. Keep it open source. Keep it free. Um, Free to anybody roasting. I think we're sticking with that kind of culture and helping new people get into roasting. Anyways, that's my spiel. I'll be probably back tomorrow. Light day at work. But now I got to go clean up the house. So, you know, my wife works full time. She's the breadwinner. So, daddy got to make dinner. Daddy got to get back in the kitchen. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I don't know. Let me know what you think.